Next into the arena, we have Ebony Park Arbe with Natasha Althoff-Kelly. And don't forget that directly after Django of Cacharel, we'll be talking to Brett Parbury, recently returned from Europe, more or less shuttling himself between his responsibilities here. He's competing here in the small tour, and his Olympic crusade, working hard now to get on the Australian team, qualified for the selection events in Europe coming up in the next couple of months. We have two Frisian horses, the first in the Grand Prix, the first of them coming into the arena now, Ebony Park Arbe. The second directly afterwards, Django of Cacharel. Beautiful black horses with lots of hair on their lower leg, wonderful tails and manes. The Frisian horse, a Baroque style of horse, being bred in the Netherlands, and quite popular in dressage ranks. Most of our competitors, however, are warm blood horses, and in fact the rest of the field are warm blood, some bred in Australia, some bred in Holland, some in Germany, and I think that covers our ranks here today. Warm blood horse, a combination of the heavier style of horse and the lighter breed, the thoroughbred and even the Arab and the Trakehner, bred for the sport. The Frisian, a pure breed, but also adapting well to the dressage sport. So, very handsome Arbe, down centre line with all that wonderful black hair flying. And coming to the halt at X. The wind just dropping for a moment. The first horse we've seen at halt without his tail, without the tail flying at least 45 degrees out to the right and sometimes considerably higher. Could have bent more in the corners, and now the extended trot. So expressive and good lift of the legs. Could swing a little more over the back and we could see more ground cover, so longer steps with the hinds finishing up further in front of the front legs. Into the trot half pass right. A little more strength from behind and stepping up, the steps just lacking energy there, and could be more parallel, rider sitting to the outside. And again, rider swapping to the outside on the other rein, so this making it more difficult for the horse to step up and under with his inside hind, and really could be more parallel, so some weakness being shown in the trot half passes. Into the halt, and could be more square, 5 steps rein back, could be more diagonal steps, so the feet we'd like to see go back in diagonal pairs, the left front with the right hind and the right front with the left hind, proceeding however to collected trot obediently and into the extended trot. Again, we could see a little more swing through the body and a little more ground cover, and very clean transition to passage, and passage with good lift, uphill frame, could swing a little more over the back, but nicely done in the passage, a highlight so far. Into the piaffe, could be a little more on the spot and stepping more under the weight from behind. The transition's achieved into the passage. Now we need more strength from behind, those hind legs stepping up more under the weight to achieve a better balance in the passage. And the extended walk. Good stretching and a little bit neck to the right, but working hard to get the overstep. A little bit modest, but the rhythm safe. So the walk could be more through the body, but achieving the overstep. And now the transition to the collected walk. Could be a little more steady to the contact and maintain the tempo a little more, so some tension creeping in. Coming round to M, the transition to passage was performed on the curve rather than on the straight line, reducing the difficulty a little and a small imprecision. The passage, he could do a little more from behind, but very expressive in front. And I think that was a better passage, more like the first one we saw. Piaffe, some weakness. The hind legs could step more under the weight and give more balance and expression. The passage out, so the transition's there. And again, looking better in the passage. Transition to the collected canter. Good 3-beat canter. Again, that very expressive front leg. And the 2-time changes, coming up a little behind, and the rider sitting very much to the outside and moving quite a lot in the saddle, but riding accurate changes and achieving the requirement, being a basic necessity for a good mark. And the extended canter. So could reach a little more with the frame and achieve even bigger jumps, but good energy. Flying change a little hesitant, but through. And now down centre line for the zigzag. A little more parallel. Again, the hesitancy in the changes. And again, problems in the left canter half pass and not changing behind. So flying change not achieved. So adding up some mistakes here in the zigzag. So times 2, coefficient of 2, the mark multiplied by 2, but still a low mark, so costly there in the zigzag. 1-time changes, not gaining ground, not going to fill the diagonal, in fact almost all over and done by X, and some problems with the straightness. So the horse still finding his balance and confidence in the tempi changes. Down the centre line now. First of the canter pirouettes. Keeping the canter jump, needing a little more energy, and the flying change. A little more straightness after the change. So a little weakness in the flying changes today. A lot of use of the hand there, but a better canter pirouette to the right than to the left. And in the zigzag, it was the left canter half pass that had more difficulty in the earlier stages. Transition to trot, clean. Now the collected trot, the shorter, higher steps, the extended trot now, the longer steps with the longer frame. Transition back to the collected trot. And down centre line. Could be straighter. Quarters a little to the right, so not really required on 3 tracks. The horse stepping very close together behind, so needing to find more strength to more bravely step under the weight with the hind legs. The piaffe and the transitions, and now the passage. So unfortunately some mistakes today and some weaknesses in the flying change. Some nice moments in passage. The final halt just performed, and Ebony Park Arbe still in the early stages of his Grand Prix career. Again, difficult conditions today, very windy. Lots of pats for Arbe from Natasha. We have a score to hand for Tango V and Carolyn Wagner into second place with 63.681. In the lead with Susie Huvenars with 65.851. In second place from Eddie de Wolf van Westerode, 64.255. In second place from Maria Colliander at C, 61.489. From Mary Seafried in equal third place, 61.809. And from the judge at B, Peter Engel, 65.000. So in second place from Peter Engel for a total score of 63.681.